Jabril Peppers got into some hot water last week after a hot mic caught this.
Lucky we asked.
I applaud Mr. Peppers for his honesty and for his camaraderie. He said we ass, not they ass. That's just being a good teammate. Peppers has since apologized for his comment and partnered with the Wayans brothers to produce a movie of the same name. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. Last week, we saw a lot of games measured in butt cheeks. A team's head of security was ejected, and 3 more starting quarterbacks went down. Plus, we saw the return of Joe Flacco and Jimmy Graham. Who? What year is this? Why? There are no answers. There's just the roast. Jackson Smith and Jigba scored a touchdown, but it was ruled incomplete. So they did it again. This time to Noah Fant, who is in no way a white guy named Colby. But it was called back because McCarthy called a timeout before the snap. So they did it again. This time to DK Metcalf. But there was a flag. Not again. I feel like a rotisserie chicken. Thankfully, JSN threatened to give the refs homeschool colonoscopies, so they counted it. There were 19 penalties in this game. I've seen less flags at the United Nations. What's that? You had a hard day at work, Debbie? Were you sucking oxygen through a mask just to live? The Prime family was in attendance. DK Metcalf had 3 touchdowns, and after one, he showed off his sign language skills. Pete Carroll wanted in on the action, but he doesn't know ASL, and just embarrassed himself. W is the best letter. Neither team punted in this game. Their punters' legs atrophied and their children starved. Pete tricked an official into smelling his finger. Damn it, Carroll! Your mom says hi. Will Levis fumbled or threw an interception, then punched it out, recovered it, and tried to sneak a touchdown out of it too. That's too much! Now's no time for your one-man play about sadness. The Colts' special teams were vicious. They blocked 2 punts and took 1 to the house. The Titans even got a pick too, which I thought was a soup and a sandwich deal at Panera. And if it is, I want one. DeAndre Hopkins got a score late, and this game went to overtime, where the ref explained the rules because they're stupid. Alec Pierce had a big day and tried to eat a defender's hand. No, drop it. Don't make me get the spray bottle. Michael Pittman got the touchdown for the win, and Coach Steichen immediately took his pants off. So it's that kind of party. Bijan Robinson was tackled in the end zone for a safety and let the extremely low scoring begin. Players prayed for lightning or an arc out of Jersey. Fans descended into madness. MyCole Pruitt had the game's only touchdown. This fall, on Fox, he's a disgruntled floor manager from a big box warehouse, and he teaches inner-city dogs how to read. It's Rodgers and Wilson. Jessie Bates picked off Tim Boyle and celebrated by blowing his team up. Boyle gave way to Trevor Siemian, and I can only assume there's a phone somewhere in MetLife Stadium with Vinny Testaverde on hold. David Montgomery was rumbling, and the defense was picking passes. The Lions got on the board again with another touchdown to Sam Laporta, which, as we all know, is Spanish for the porta potty. Jimmy Graham got a touchdown. He caught 2 passes all year, and they were both touchdowns. Derek Carr fumbled, but it was an inside job. His lineman swatted it out of his hands. Luckily, Carr is the forgiving type. Oh, fuck! He's going Old Testament. But he never got the chance. Carr left early and Jameis Winston took over. He was playing 4D chess with the defense. Look at him bounce this pass off a defender's hand and right to his receiver. Now you're just showing off. Russell Wilson threw 1, 2, 3 interceptions and never saw wide open receivers. CJ Stroud fumbled into 5 Broncos and somehow none of them got it. It was just that kind of day, and the Broncos' win streak came to an end. Before the game, Mike Gesicki caught passes from children, unaware it would be the most the Patriots would move the ball all day. Touchdowns wanted no part of this game. Not every game is going to be a shootout. Some are bound to feel more like hospice. 2 field goals was all the Chargers managed. I'm surprised they didn't find a way to win this thing 1-0. Half a safety, an extra point with no touchdown? At least I would have been entertained by the anomaly. Zappy was better at finding boogers than open receivers. We ass is right. Belichick looks like he's been riding the rails for 30 years and can be summoned with a good barrel fire and some rum. And for God's sakes, somebody get that man a hanky. The good luck fairy must have been drunk under a bus because the Steelers didn't play to their record against the Cardinals. Kenny Pickett left early, and it was Mitchell Trubisky's responsibility to catch balls hiked to his shins. Jonathan Gannon looks like the lifeguard at a ski resort. The rain was driving better than the Steelers. They went for it on 4th and goal, and Najee Harris was denied. It was an amazing return for James Conner to the state that gave him cancer. Deontay Johnson celebrated a touchdown late. It's like they say, dance like nobody's watching. Or like you're not down 2 scores to the Cardinals. Settle down. The only thing you've won is pneumonia. Tyreek Hill had a couple of touchdowns, and the Dolphins did their famous group electric chair celebration. The Dolphins were dominant. The Commanders can't even fill their crumbling stadium with a home crowd. Fins fans were everywhere, and it reeked like old tuna. You better start winning, or I'ma butter that ass. What? Butter ass. Forget Hard Knocks. I want a reality show entirely about Mike McDaniels, because I think he's detached from it, and I love it. Bryce Young threw the ball backwards, and the refs had a lengthy discussion about it. What the hell are you talking about? If only the field was marked with some kind of measurement system, instead of all those numbers that mean nothing to anyone. All this rain was turning the refs into a wet t-shirt contest. Debate all you want, football cops, but put them on the glass if you want these singles. It was another crap day for the Panthers, who seemed to be rebuilding without supplies, management, or a blueprint. And there's David Tepper with his Hunger Games child bride. So that's what happens when you lose. Brian Burns was ejected after punching another player in the helmet, right in front of a ref. What exactly was your exit strategy from that one? Nuh-uh. Santa was there, wearing plastic and throwing beads like a serial killer at Mardi Gras. They tried to rip Bryce Young's face off because you can't score touchdowns without a face. Or maybe you can, but it'd be icky. Jalen Hurts can do anything, including sack himself. The average time to throw a pass in the NFL is 2.4 seconds, but for Jalen Hurts, it's 37 minutes. It's like his hands are made of Velcro. I once saw him finish an entire puzzle of grass at midfield. Dre Greenlaw suplexed Devontae Smith and then tried to give the Eagles' head of security a dirty Sanchez. They kicked Greenlaw out, then Eagles security too, which can only mean one thing. With no security, the Taliban can make the playoffs. Still better than the Cowboys. The Eagles channeled their rage into a shove at the goal line. The only way it could have been more Philly is if Jason Kelce was eating a Wawa hoagie at the bottom of that John. Deebo Samuel got a long-distance touchdown, but it certainly helped that Ronnie Bell used Reed Blankenship to make a 2/3 human centipede. The announcer said McCaffrey reached 1,000 yards, and I thought they meant in this game. 3 49ers players went untouched to the end zone. The Eagles defense played more like aloof matadors. Olay. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah showed up in an African sailor suit. Great! Now I have to take mine off. No twinsies. Joe Flacco was back in the NFL. And while it was funny on the surface, he displayed a base level of competence for the Browns. Flacco allows you to lose with dignity and consistency. Deshaun Watson watched with what I assume was the one girl who gave consent. 27th time's the charm, I guess. The Rams found a way to slow Myles Garrett. Dark magic. They removed his helmet with no hands. For my next trick, I'll make you disappear from the playoffs.
If you had butt cheek on your bingo card for the NFL on Fox today, congratulations.
Dang it! I was one uvula from glory. Title of your sex tape. Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes must have pissed into a magical fountain and body swapped. Love had 3 touchdowns and found every receiver on the roster. Patrick was less Mahomesian than usual. The Packers put the squeeze on him. Isaiah Pacheco got evicted in the final minutes for throwing a punch. I don't know if Chris Jones was hungry or horny, but I'm terrified it could be both. The Bengals started their new quarterback, Don Platinum. Don came out with a look that said, check my crawl space for bodies. Trevor Lawrence came out hungry too. Cocaine! Cocaine! Joe Mixon scraped for a touchdown, and then they put on a show. Holy restraining order. That's the most impressive beard I've seen since John Travolta's wife. They ripped Tyler Boyd's helmet off, and they should have turned it into a planter box with some delightful petunias, converting his displeasure into utter confusion. Parker Washington caught a tipped ball in the end zone. Was he in bounds?
That right knee, the right side of the cheek.
Ha ha! Butt cheek strikes again! Also the title of your sex tape. Who the fuck is this guy? Why are we looking at him? He looks like a dad at a Dua Lipa concert. Meanwhile, on the Manning cast, Tua Tagovailoa was the guy who shows up to every party with his guitar. The Bengals kept calling trick plays rescued from a trash barge, including one that led to the dumbest interception of the week. Regret! They should have kept it in Jake Browning's tender mitts, because when they did, he had over 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not bad for an undrafted QB, named after dish soap. And now it's time for the salt pretzel of the week. Yummy. This week, the pretzel goes to Zach Wilson. We've poked a lot of fun at Zach over the years, but when the Jets finally dared to bench him, they found out quick just how much worse things could get. Tim Boyle was horrific in 2 starts, and Trevor Siemian isn't any better. Word is the Jets want to go back to Wilson, and he's like, meh. How enthusiastic would you be to get back under center with that offensive line? He's the 3rd most sacked quarterback this year, and he hasn't even played in 2 games. Wilson is 24 years old. If he's lucky, he can be a backup in this league for another 10 plus years, make millions, and never take another starting snap again. I support your indifference, Zach. Stay salty, my friend. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. Leave your comments below, like, subscribe, say hi to your mom for me, and we'll catch you next week. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
You ever notice that since Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin doesn't look any older? He just looks larger? No one ever talks about that.